Back on Inside Tennessee with Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs. Susan?
Yeah, the sheriff's office. Let's talk about that a little bit. There's no question he loses officers every day to surrounding counties to various and sundry other law enforcement things. He obviously would like to see a raise for his officers. Is that in the works in this coming budget?
Well, the sheriff is advocating for his people, and no one can blame him for that.
Right.
We get along very well. He wants a large increase. We'll do what we can, but we are dealing with budgetary constraints. And I think everyone needs to remember as well as we don't set the sheriff's budget. We don't determine what the payment is or what the salaries are for the people within his office. He gets a lump sum. Same as schools,
okay.
And then they get to decide how to divvy that up or what to do with that. And certainly we're open to conversations about how to increase pay for the deputies. That's something that over my first 4 years we increased by I think 16% and something like $3,500 in bonuses. So that is something that's important to me as well. But getting there, especially with what we see with the economy doing, might be tough.
Right. And one other note on that, just for our viewers, it also eliminates the line item option. You don't have that, nor does commission. Right. You just have to say, we like that lump sum or we don't like that lump sum.
Exactly.
And of course, with the county, the sheriff's department and the school board or schools are really the largest expenditures that you make.
Yes.
But one final point on the sheriff's request, it is historic in the amount of increase that the sheriff has asked for this year. Is that a fair characterization?
Not sure. It's historic from when I've been in office, but I can't say it's been historic.
Well, certainly since you've been
right.
in. And
yes.
Is there any way that the county is going to be able to get to that number?
It's a large number. So
is that a kind way of saying probably not?
It'll be challenging. We'll do what we can, and the sheriff will work with us as well.
So the other issue, as we just mentioned, is the schools and your relationship really with Dr. Ryakirk and with the school board. How is that? Because we've had a long history in this community of some sometimes good and sometimes very bad relationships between county mayors, school boards, school superintendents. How are things, in your opinion, going with those three entities, you, school board, and the superintendent?
They're going very, very well. I am a big fan of John Ryswick. I think he brings a lot to the table. I'm a huge fan of the 865 academies and the transformation that schools are undergoing. As far as funding, with the new model coming out of Nashville with TISA, as well as a lot of the federal money that's come down.
Everybody's learning it right now.
But that has not been an issue because schools have their budget has just increased from those things. And we get along really well. Our administrations and our teams get along really well as well. I think here in Knox County we're fortunate to have someone like John Ryswick as superintendent. I think he's going to do a wonderful job in the future.
From your perspective, do you think the third grade retention law that is undergoing so much discussion right now, does it need to change or should it remain the way it is?
I can't comment on that because I don't know that much about it. Third grade, one of the things that we think is important is the third grade literacy and being able to read at grade level at third grade. That's something that we really concentrate on. We have our program called Read City USA, which is really designed to increase third grade literacy rates. But as far as the rest of it, that's something I have to ask school board because I really don't know.
Mayor, we know you just got reelected your second term last year. Do you wish Knox County didn't have term limits?
They might be a relief.
That's a sort of a different way to ask you a question that you know I'm going to ask you.
Sure. No. I was talking with Governor Haslam one day, and he was term limited both as mayor of Knoxville and as governor. And he said 8 years is about the right time frame because if you can't get what you need to get done in 8 years, you need to move on. And then also at some point you'll start running out of ideas and running out of energy and all those sort of things. So I think 2 terms is appropriate.
Should that be true for members of Congress as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Mayor Burchett's on his final couple years then in Europe.
If he's watching, he may be slightly surprised.
Let me ask you this, Mayor. Do you enjoy serving in public office?
Yeah, it's awesome. I've had the 2 best jobs anyone can ever have. I was WWE superstar and mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. It doesn't get any better than that.
And could there be more? If you will be term limited, as John mentions, would you be interested in perhaps serving in some other public office?
I haven't really considered that at this point because I'm just trying to do the best that I can as mayor and trying to be the best mayor of Knox County that I can be. Whatever happens in the future, it happens in the future, but right now that's my focus.
That's
Everybody
a very
that's
political
ever
answer.
sat and been asked that question by
Right,
any of us
that.
has said exactly that. You've got to be thinking about it at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be foolish
It's 3
if you
years away. 3
Thinking
years
about
away.
what?
Any
See?
Running.
Thinking about what?
Governor?
Governor,
Running against
Senate.
Tim Burchett? Running for the Senate?
I know. I will. That is one thing I will promise, and this is a guarantee. I will never run for federal office. I have no desire at all to do that.
You know what? That's a good scoop for WBIR this morning.
I think so much more can be accomplished at the state and local levels than can be accomplished at the federal level.
And Mayor, just returning to your point, at the local level, even though we've seen divisions politically in this country that feel like they're separating people, it seems local government's an opportunity to shed some of that.
Yeah, you do have some of that, unfortunately. I think the way the political environment is all the way around, it bleeds down to the local level. But at the same time, the things that we deal with here are not those hot button divisive issues. So we can do things like improve our transportation system, work on economic development, all those things, and not have to really get into the stuff that drives a wedge between people.
One last question. Before you leave office, is there a signature program or accomplishment you want to see happen in the next 3 or so years?
I don't want to raise property taxes.
Okay.
That'd be it.
We established that's not happening.
Yes. Mayor, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you
so
very much.
Thank you all very much.
We're going to be back with our talk around with Don and Susan right after this.